everybody. So, I'm going to be reading you one of my friend's stories. This is Sense, as you can see here. Sense, you know. So, I guess we should fucking start. No, I actually haven't read this one before. It's more spicy. Try it, said Septon. I know, I don't really like spicy food, said Joel. The sauces from both men rained from chin to lap. They mauled the winds like barbarians. Tipton would lax his tongue onto the tough hide of the wing before taking each bite. To bewilder himself when his teeth reached the gooey center, meat was sliding off of bone with ease. Septon felt a tap on his shoulder mid-munch. A wing, sir. Septon had 3 wings left. He handed one over to the kid. Be careful on it, spicy. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Septon and Joel were both confused, but not terribly. They continued their saucy lip-smacking. Another tap touched down on Septon's shoulder, and he turned around to find a family of 4 looking at him, expecting. He handed each of them a wing, one at a time. He didn't realize he had given away more than what he had, but for some reason there were still 3 wings on his plate. The miracle went unnoticed by the human eye. The third tap on Septon's shoulder ignited his eye for the amplification of his voice. He stood up and announced to the potentially hungry a set of ground rules. If you would like one of my spicy wings, stand and line up in front of me. Let's get this over with. My shoulder's getting sore. Like a horde of groundhogs, countless bodies rose and gathered with arms outstretched, and so, one at a time, he relented his wings, his spicy wings, to his new family, characterized by their politeness and eagerness for more. Wait, why do they want my wings when they came here specifically to get their own? Unreactive, he continued passing out the wings, one by one. Wait, I only had 2 wings left. Where am I getting all of these? Carefully, he continued what he was doing. He didn't want to disrupt the spell. He eyed the wings closely, making sure that it wasn't an hallucination when he saw them multiply. Multiple blinks and several seconds of fearful automacy later, his eyeballs began to sweat. Matt, you need to get a publisher. Septon had a seizure when he was a little boy. It was self-inflicted. How the fuck? Sometimes children stubbornly believe that if they angrily and energetically wish for something, they will be granted the wish. Sadly, life doesn't work that way. The strain that little Septon had forced onto his brain willingly caused vessels to rupture and capillaries to implode. It was a special kind of seizure, to say the least. No shit. Septon had been ripping apart a loafed baguette. He had heard the story in church of this hooligan Jesus pulling infinite loaves and fishes out of a basket and feeding thousands. He didn't have a fish. He kept pulling apart the bread while the violent internal tantrum taking place was splitting his neural fibers by the ton. He was wishing really hard, really hard. Blood was thickening in his temples, the orbs glugging in his ear, juicing his awareness to the absolute T. He was angry. Viciously screaming and crying and punching and kicking and melting, smoldering under the ash of his hopeless war. Jesus. Oh, this is so fucking good. I don't know why, but this sentence here. He kept pulling apart the bread while the violent internal tantrum taking place was slitting his neural fibers by the ton. I don't know, it just sounds fun to say. It flows real fast, real easy. They called him epileptic. Can't trust authority. Swimming in the wasteland of unconsciousness, as others call it, a coma, Septon came across a large anvil in the center of his seemingly endless desert. 2 individuals materialized, one strapped to the anvil and on their back, and the other standing next to the anvil looking down upon the bonded being. God. Looking down upon the bonded being. Flows off the tongue. Septon somehow knew Satan was on the anvil that day. Jesus was above him, holding him prisoner. Jesus tortured sort Jesus tortured Satan in his head or wherever he was. Drooling copper bubbles, popping with sputtering pain, dried and parched and split and chapped, coarse friction peeling puckered and prickly, with sporting sprinklers raining down, thick and chokeable throbs, tightening with pressure and draining the soiled seepage. Oh, you and your alliteration. You and your alliteration. I love it. Septon was hanging on to a dolphin's dorsal fin, jetting through mile-high sculptures of coral, speckled with crystalline, glinting, frenzied prisms, tickling kaleidoscopes fanning like symphonic Ferris wheels, rotating and vanishing with each whim of the solar rays. Centuries into the atmosphere, the lunar rays push and pull overwhelmingly infinite ripples across Poseidon's pool. Is Charybdis gonna show up here? I bet it will. Lightning strikes the wave, crackling and bouncing like an erratic plant root, scraping through space like a hot blade. The sea parts, walls of ocean forming rifts, giving the atmosphere direct access to the portion of the Earth's crust that hasn't seen sunlight since time's dawn. The anvil is resting on the scorched plateau. It is vibrating a frequency stilted by a nocturnal drone, but not nocturnal like a werewolf, nocturnal like the space between the moon and the Earth. I'm not gonna question it, although that's not exactly nocturnal, whatever. It's still fucking good shit. Center point of the interspatial gravity's tension, or the point equidistant between the center of the Earth and the center of the Moon, is a war of pressure, but not of the pressure that we understand, an inverse pressure. What is the inverse of pressure? Let's start with how to apply pressure, by decreasing space. So, how do we apply the inverse of pressure? Increasing space. The size of the universe will be determined once we determine the inverse of pressure. The expansion of space is applying the inverse of pressure. If the universe expands, then what is the inverse of pressure? A vacuum will collapse the tunnel of your esophagus, instantly bulging your eyeballs out and searing the brain with a shock-like final moment emotional expression. This emotional expression can delect any taste bud, erupting like an orchestral firework in the mind's theater, nodding brashly but thrillingly dangerous. At each sparkle of infinity, our destructive dialogue will manifest. Scores of heathens will span mountains, deserts, and prairies, disorienting stability but uniting to conquer. Fucking hell, man. That's good shit. Breathe slowly and the spice will disappear. Inhale, exhale, exhale. Wait, so you're telling me that spicy wings make you angry and that anger suppresses fear. So spicy wings suppress fear? No, torture is only acceptable in the terms of the favored, the arms of the wanted, the arms of the passionate. I have no heart, where can I find one? Why are some wings better than others, Septon? I don't make the rules. What the fuck? What the fuck? Her butt was so cute right now, excuse me? Flattened on the hardwood chair, smushed into a shape being useful. A butt is useful when sitting, I'd say. She noticed me, though. I was doing just fine, thank you. Yep, she's disgusted with me. Well, if she's disgusted, we can all agree she isn't very intelligent, correct? Wow. Interesting. If she was intelligent, she would have laughed at the absurdity of catching a man looking at her seated bum. What kind of aspiration is needed to desire that little and that obscure of a visual stimulation? Oh fuck, she's attacking. The walls of ocean rose as if Jesus was molding a pottery waterfall. The anvil shone in the sunlight, basking but also reflecting, attacking, giving the world hell. The light had gotten in his eyes. He felt his pupils dilate to the overwhelming blast. It hurt. Sharks and whales and pufferfish and eels came siphoning out of the ever-rising walls and plopped onto the now sandy and deserted earth. Animals of all shapes and sizes, but only water ones, of course. Septon knew there was something wrong the second the anvil became visible with the blinding light. the black unsheathed, revealing the woman's shoes centimeters away from the leg of his chair. Torture him, make him bleed. There was no use in trying. The unconscious was a battered and extinct planet fishing for doves. Integrated general adrenaline. He came to, fighting for air and seething for some kind of transcendence. It was midday at the wing stop, and this woman was expecting a dialogue. How entitled of her! I don't want to open my mouth just because your smooshy booty want to smush and push and poke. Matt, are you okay? Are you okay, dude? Okay, fine. I'll allow the adrenaline to grease my gears. It's not like I have a choice or anything. The eels rode down the neural networks like train tracks, slithering around the wires they travel on and slickening the material with liquid lightning. It was an orange oil, shooting droves with swarms of clean static into synapse receptors, electrifying the anvil. I imagine a seizure to be an overload of adrenaline, like a battery building pressure with butter junkie. At this wing stop, they were offered unlimited butter sticks and were encouraged to rub the slob all over the fried meat. Something about destroying your own body is so appetizing. Literally, sadism is a key to the food artist, the cook. We hate ourselves, we want to reward ourselves, but we also have a sickly inkling that desires pain, suffering, and self-infliction. Yeah, eat it, you bitch. Don't ever fucking speak to me again. Her eyes were watering as her hand wiped the smears from her lips. It is so good to feel your pain, you have no idea. It's honestly the only pleasure I've had in minutes. The last bit of pleasure I felt was eating one myself. The spice hurts. She chewed vigorously, like Jesus when he tore out Satan's liver. Septon was hypnotized. The woman had chosen to chew like that. Was it to mitigate the power of the spice, or was the action layered with ulterior intent? And now she's watching me watch her. She winked. Okay, I'm definitely hallucinating. Septon turned to Joel, who was equally as hypnotized by the woman. Septon snapped in front of his face. Joel was shocked out of his trance and watched Septon mouth something inaudibly. The woman then reached over Septon's shoulder to grab another wing. Joel was trying to decipher Septon's lips, but Septon stopped mid-thought. Septon's hand lashed on the woman's wrist. God, fucking hell. I give when I want, not when you desire. She looked taken aback, ostracized, like a nasty forbidding had been bestowed upon her, a rule. No rules, I won't allow them. Every time you imagine something that constricts something else, I want you to burn your flesh on fire. Let the wick wax and wane across your pores, igniting the serenity of pleasure to the inverse. The natural process of inversion. Opposites create themselves, and so God becomes the truth and Satan becomes the lie. Let the wick wax and wane. Oh, great shit. The lie, the ultimate lie. I'll tell you what the lie is. The calorie count on the side of this place's menu. I'm so sick of the food industry materializing emotion as customers, as if they were a medium of personal growth, a garden for the restaurant to plant its insecticides into. Lying for the sake of monetary gain, for the sake of a destructive sociopath. Don't worry, he's launched the anvil, writhing and writing. I mean, what is the process of torture anyway? All I saw was the occasional burst and puke. Do you know how to make someone feel pain? I thought I did, but it wasn't worth it. I didn't want to, I swear. You can't tell me the best way forward, can you? I'm getting into this now. Good grief. She started sweating out of her tongue's taste buds. That's not possible. Watering arbitrarily, a useless bodily reaction. What is the point of watering the mouth when one is suffering under the strength of spice? To prepare for more spice? One taste and you'll want more. You won't know. You want more, but you do. You want the pain to keep growing until it climaxes into a revolutionary revelation. I can give you what you want. You can't give me anything. You're strapped to an anvil at the bottom of the ocean. What, you want me to call the water back in? You want to see how you fare? Oh, honey, I have the power. Don't try to bargain with me whether or not you will survive. I can't keep fighting for your pleasure. What the fuck is this? It's good, it's well written, but I'm so confused. fighting for my pleasure? You're a sadist, right? You pride yourself on how you deviantly experience pain, right? So that means when I'm throttling my brain with hatred for you, you can't get mad because I win. No, silly, I don't hate you, I'm just myself. I can't control it. You thought I had a choice. There is no choice, there's only alignments. When things that don't align suddenly align, that is what is emotional. That is what inspires. That is what intoxicates. Was it actually torture? There's lots of screaming, lots of jolting, lurching. I'm not sure though. I mean, it could be something like an exorcism. How do I get closer? I have to will my way towards this truth, this idea. I'm not sure if I'm going to like what I see, but I guess that's the fun of it, right? The chase. No, no, we were sprinting, all of us, down the fucking highway. Nobody knew which way was up, down, left, porcupine. It was pandemonium. We were a unit, though. Felt like a ritual, like a sacrament. I felt my knees slam into the marble stair, the millions of cells bursting at once, sending a painful sear up my thighs and into my ballsack. What the fuck? The tabernacle shone in the light of the stained glass, the shadow barely reaching my leg. I was slapped across the face. Oh no, he didn't, that little son of a bitch. I'ma take him to another slap, palm to jaw. I spit out a tooth, angry. Can't take this anymore. I ripped out a framed Desert Eagle and launched it at the predator, causing the poor man to slip and crack his rib on the same marble flooring that my knees had hit, and he had relished in. Another pain-worshipping scum, that's who. I ran as fast as I could over to the sputtering fool of a man, with a robe only a sputtering fool would wear. I sat in his chest like a mother chicken copes an egg. I had to ask him a few questions, and I figured that this reality, from the possible realities, would be the most eccentric way to go about it. I got real low and whispered with hot chicken wing breath. She won't, she wouldn't stop squishing it, and I couldn't tell whether or not her life force was strumming when she did it. Was the answer in the squish? No, it can't be. I would never hide something in such plain sight. Jesus, can you take a hint, you fucking psychopath? Sorry, back to what we were doing. Septon's family and Joel were crowded like sheep around his hospital cot. Did they want to know what he was experiencing in the coma? Of course not. They were only worried about everything besides that. Occasionally, Septon's wrist would twitch, and since the family members and Joel were practically living in that standing position, they would all notice the movement and practically scream of its preciousness. Like a baby's arm sticking out of a vagina mid-labor, bleeding, spewing actually, like a hose, like a bloody fucking hose, an arm sticking out. Imagine the fucking trauma. I, I'm must be stupid. Or either this is just gibberish, and it's not gibberish, it's obviously written with an intent for something, but I, for the life of me, cannot figure it out. And now Septon is thinking about the first childbirth. No, the very first, with God and God's wife. They gave birth to the universe. What, you didn't know this? There's a reason we see color and can't describe it anyway. Color is God's wife. We can see God's wife, the rainbow. The rainbow is the mother of the universe. That's an interesting idea, I guess. Anyways, back to the fundamentals, because that is what we all enjoy to linger. The spots cleared from Septon's vision as the woman approached once more. Apparently eyeing her squished tush was the key to magnetizing women? What the fuck? What's your name, Madeline? That's nice. Another wing? Sure, I seem to have an infinite amount. What's another? Wait, you're the one who took one earlier. You're the one who stole. I can't be around that kind of influence. I respect each and every one of the 10 Commandments, even that one about... Here's my question, Mr. Priest Fuckface. We have spice, so what's your problem? She did have spice, that spicy pigment that could entrance even the most tubaed bloke. She was a caramel, like a sorceress crowned in most moist soil. Like a gaseous seductress. Nobody knew what she was doing or how she could just take one without much indifference, with that much nonchalance. I didn't want to see her take another one. I just want to know how she did it the first time. Maybe that's why we don't have an attention span. We just can't keep our eyes off of what's in front of us. I could not keep my eyes off what was in front of me. It was capital punishment realized in a human being, my forte. I was inching closer with each squeezing thrust of my brain's strain. I was taught that if you were I was taught that if you have enough willpower, you can do anything. How do I get willpower? Fight for it. The glare on the anvil was too bright for me to get a good look at just yet. And then, right there, before I get any closer, the anvil of dietic torture, I had a squeamish hallucination. What plastered across my mind's eye was a drill, not just any drill, an electric drill. It was hugging the hole it skewered in Satan's brain like a rummaging jackhammer. Guts, brains, it was all laid out in front of her like a silver fucking platter. She grabbed it in front of me, right in front of me. Maybe I should tackle her, rip off all her clothes, and start tickling her until she bled a fucking arm out of her vagina mid-labor. What the fuck is this, Matt? What the fuck is this? Her knee bent. A scream leapt from her lips. She gracefully fell into her chair. Madeline, arms bumping but not bruising. A fountain of goo rained down from the hellfire of the heavens. A drip sounded like a gunshot, freezing the people in fear. Nobody knew what to do. Nobody even knew what was going on. Septon didn't want anything anymore. That's when Satan ripped from his chains. That's when Jesus skyrocketed into the air like an angel among angels and escaped, taunting the ether with his condolences, not cowardice. I tingled a bit there. I feel a bit bad. Do you feel a bit bad? If I felt bad, would Satan turn his head and stare right into my soul the second Jesus disappeared? Do you think vomiting was the best option at that point? Do you think it was even an option? Chomped on the wing, so delightfully, so deliciously. I wanted to taste what he tasted. I wanted to feel what he felt. Nobody else knew what it was like to live inside the body of someone that you wanted so badly to live inside. Because nobody has, except me, and Satan, and Jesus. I'm not sure which had control at that point, but we all participated. What is happening? There was an equal portion secular and non-secular, so nobody can so nobody can pertain this politically. We wouldn't want that, would we? No, we wouldn't. And along with infinite wings at the wing stop, we will be introducing a special kind of spice, political spice. The crazy thing about political spice is that it's bland as fuck. Someone could just think for a couple minutes on how to recreate the education system, infiltrate into the school's architecture with improvements, and install homicidal weaponry. What? You were thinking of a singular school? How about hundreds of skyscrapers, K through uni, all the youth centralized in the cities, an anthill waiting to be stomped on? What is happening? Please tell me nobody is writing this down. Oh, you are? Okay then, make the homicidal weaponry really creatively brutal, and then record it. New, new entertainment platform to shatter the cultural taboo. What, you don't want to watch this group of kindergartners burn to death? Are you a pussy? That's what I call marketing, pussy. Wow. Okay then. I need to drink some water, mate. What the fuck? And while we are at it, can someone just prepare for the presidency? Like maybe install an anvil at the bottom of the ocean the size of Satan's lanky body and strap that son of a bitch to it and torture the living shit out of his skull with a drill, invoking monstrous amounts of pain in the son of a bitch because he keeps talking to me like talk me like his bitch, like I'm under his willpower and that he has a plan for me. I know he doesn't, but I can't believe myself over him because who am I to judge myself on the grand scale of life and death? Heavenly beings versus human beings. I can't tell the difference anymore. Wait, so you're actually going to strap me down? Well, I guess I can roll with it. You won't slip anything important, will you? Oh, oh, okay, wow. Well, I guess wordplay can be used here. It's not like sharks and their various fish are flying from the giant walls of water, consuming half our natural light source. God, please help me, I'm in trouble. There is nothing in this world I can say for myself, not even magic, not even you. This is the problem. I can't think past this point. The strongest beings in the world can't breach past the guilt of disobeying God. I don't mean the idiots who don't believe in him. I mean the ones who can't deny his existence. The ones who fight to forget about him, but can't be swayed more by his presence. I can't do it. It's impossible. It's not worse than murder, though. Not sure if someone pointed a gun to my head and told me to actively renounce God. Then I don't know what I'd do. What the heck is happening? See, I reached this point where I have to make a decision on whether or not I want to renounce God just fizzles out in indecision. Do you know how maddening that is? I can't decide. It's a fucking hooligan's catastrophe. That's what it is. What is going on in this fucking story? Now let's get one thing straight. I tricked you back there. I would renounce God if he told me to do something like, see, it happened again. Sheesh, man, it's time for me to get off my computer. I'm far too close from some myself arms Mr. Devil. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to be typing this as it's not literally acceptable. But who knows what the future holds? I mean, Septon met his true love, and the only thing that didn't stop them from making out immediately, each other's awkwardly screwing on, was the fact they both had spicy sauce lathered across their puffed up lips, puffed up perfectly for puckering. I want to slice them right open and suck out the juice so that they deflate like fucking balloons. There is nothing in this story to make you think that I am evil. There is nothing. Don't worry. Mm-hmm. I feel like there is a bit of I don't know. I really don't know. But this is like it's really well written. I like it a lot. The sentences are fucking great. I'm just struggling here. Like, what is going on? The sauces were swirling on his plate. It looks kind of like one of those paint palettes, but with different spices. It was the vortex after the sirens. The passion led me here, to the sirens. It doesn't matter who you are, their voices invoke different strains of happiness. We are living in a world that tells us to be happy, but that only happiness we ever feel is that we are lulled by music. It is the key to life and is right in front of us. Religion has already been replaced by music. Whether or not God exists is an outdated question. The real question is, who are the sirens? What did the sirens do? Promise infinite happiness. What does this mean? I'm not sure, Joel. I think it's time to take it easy on the wings. Oh God, Septon, I may fart. I may just fart right here. Oh no, you don't, partner. And so they cheered to another bloated evening at the Wingstop, gunning broads and slimming hogs. The tablecloth was littered with wing bones and sauce smears like a battlefield raging with bullfighter barreling and the tablecloth was littered with wing bones and sauce smears like a battlefield raging with bullfighters barreling towards boners. Okay, fine, I'll stop the libidinal pseudo-lit. And so Jesus left Satan half hogtied in the midst of the beached sea life. Well, that's not like him, is it, Moby? No, it isn't, Papa. Oh, you're such a good boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Please excuse the author while he reads up on the random story that came up in the random story he was writing. The siren one. I'm just as confused and have no idea how the story will end. I hope you're having fun, though. Well, it was nice that we could talk one-on-one here. You seem like a cool cat, or something. Well, that's all for now. The possibilities are quite endless, don't you think? Study intermission. Oh, are we? Is this literally Matt talking now? Is this literally him? I don't know. This is like so ridiculously. Okay, so to tell you the truth, I didn't go and study. Yep, you guessed it. I sat still and stared into nothingness and had an idea. Here it is. The consequence of music being the source of our infinite happiness is that we go insane listening to it. Literally, I'm schizophrenic. Phrases become games that interfere and imbalance my emotional state. Letters become codes, unbreakable codes of human nature spoken by prophets of the new God, sense. No need to capitalize it. No need to give it any unnecessary authority. I will claim no argument of being the mover that moved the new God into existence. However, I will claim that I discovered him and proved that God falls with us as humans. Let's explore the idea a bit more, shall we? What? What? Now for the real study intermission. Fuck studying. I need to write this out. Let's get back in the story. I didn't study the story like I was supposed to. I'll have to do it tomorrow morning. Static prickles and the scene materializes. Hear me, Joel. Do we have a piece of art in front of us on the table right now? Oh, Septon, my God, what could we do without the arts of the cooking kingdom? I know, right? They're like some different kind of breed. Something sometimes atrociously angry, but terrible to say the least. Anyways, So let's get this straight. We need to explain what sense is and why it is the name we are using, and what's it got to do with senses in general. I don't know why you're being so blunt. You were so terribly subtle this entire time. I mean, you even. No, I was not subtle. Not like them. I will never be like them. Okay, hold your horses, dear. You are arguably better than them. Okay, I'll hold your horses. Bury me like a fucking friend. I'll stop. I need to hit the porcelain. Ponder this phrase while I'm in here. Sense is the new god. What does that mean? Okay, I'll be back. Thinking it, okay? I'll be back. Just 1 second. What is happening? I will never be like them. I will never be like them. I will never be like them. I made my way to the porcelain with all my newfound authority in the world. I would like to force everyone to call toilets porcelains. I feel like this is the next step in the direction of human advancement. We must shift our vocabulary into something poetic, something beautiful, something that makes us rethink what we say after we say it, and all of our mind's ability to instantly come up with a conversation. Sorry, everyone, if I'm being offensive, it's really unlike me. I'm not really an offensive guy. Trust me, you can trust me, right? Sorry, did I do something wrong here? Who else is gonna do this? Anyway, I want to get political for a second because some people in my life are deranged in the political sense. Ha ha. Let's make it so that if the word sense, when used in the context of the definition I am creating with this project, is at the beginning of the sentence, it is forced to be in lowercase. That would properly promote the mistrusting of authority. Get it? Because capital letters are bigger. Get it? I don't like big people. Stop fucking staring at me like it's a disease. Jesus. And it would be all around a convenient way of signifying this idea's importance in the world. Let me just rethink for a second. Am I really doing this right now? Septon sat down the porcelain and shat blood. Okay. Poured out like a behemoth. He had no idea what to do but experience the pain, trust the pain, become the pain. Oh God, I love it here. Notes from study time. Yes, I finally searched on Google. I'm such a hard-working fucking degenerate. A siren is half bird, half woman who lured Sarah to destruction by the sweetness of her song. The sweetness. What an interesting choice of vocabulary. Sounds like a different sense is being spoke of. Sirens were daughters of a sea god and a river god. A state of moisture. How wet something is. How dry something is. Am I insane? In one of Homer's epics, did you see that, Mom? I disrespected Homer because didn't even name which epic it was because I don't care. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. You see, I enjoy emphasizing words with the italics button. It soothes my desire to emphasize things. It really gets me going, you know. It kind of feels like when you're reading a book and you're reading fast, you're in a flow state and imagining you are the one whizzing on a typewriter, or the keyboard, or the parchment, or the Rosetta Stone. It's a worrying experience, reading. The possibilities are quite endless. Use your imagination, not your mind. Wow, that's actually. Wow. That's That's some good shit. Yes, I'm talking to you, my Padawan, the one who must decipher the Rosetta Stone. You were the fruit of my womb, you were the lip to my nip. I spread my legs and launched you out at me like a cannon. What the fuck? A big, fat, bleeding cannon, sticking of guts and gore. The toilet seat was wet. Septon didn't care that much, though. He kind of purposely slid around in a moment or two. It's the little indulgences that are special. With Jesus gone, Satan begins torturing himself. First, he uses his mind to release the hold on the water. On the one hand, to save the dying sea life, and on the other, give him a bit more motivation to bend the will of reality into his favor. And so the waves crash and the seas bash and all that stuff, and Satan is now drowning. And so the adrenaline causes him to literally alter the essence of reality by knocking out its existence and replacing it with what you create. The sirens came down from mermaid like lobster shells and began infecting Satan with their voices. The music hurt him for some reason, but it wasn't something to despise. He enjoyed it. He called upon the sirens to give him the pain of happiness, so that he could prolong his bodily adrenal circumvention long enough to use that happiness to create my own. And so this Satan guy was just listening to this painful music and ripping apart time and space with his mind, searching for the ultimate. What? What comes next? There is no ultimate anything. Shut the fuck up and do your chores. Death is coming and it's not, I don't even know anymore. Sometimes I can't tell if the problems actually become meaningless or if it's just my thoughts centered into nothingness because of my schizophrenia. Okay, this is very, I'm not gonna say anything. It's quite curious to me to take such a nihilistic stance here, but I guess that's what I'm doing. Yes, people with health problems that dissociate or have thought errors know that what it's like to experience meaningful things become meaningless. It's part of the aggression factor. You have to be so mad that your fear of not having the right thought or not saying it the right way just disappears. And stood up, dripping from the toilet seat, dripping clear and brown. I know, right? It's hard to have both, but that's the way it is now. Just get with the times till the times get you. Septon was at his toilet thinking about color. He was thinking that if color didn't alter during madness, that color had to do with something outside the mind. It had to be objective. Nobody was sure why Septon was thinking these things, but occasionally it entertained his friends and family, so he went along with it. Slowly, steadily. Unto death thou wed, bedhead and deathbed. Luminous 2021, what? Excuse me? These quotes just keep stacking up in my brain. I have a total of one. Exactly one. It's my favorite sentence of all time. It's by Cormac McCarthy in Blood Meridian. It goes something like this. The judge is announcing to his clan what he keeps a nature journal. He goes, everything that exists on this earth without my knowledge exists without my consent. I fucking love that book. I fucking love McCarthy. He's amazing. With the sirens in his ear, giving him a special kind of pain, Satan forced the water up into his walled form, stopped himself from drowning, thus rescuing himself from Jesus' forgotten kiss. The sounds were exhausting, trading his survival and energy for what? What did the sirens want? They wanted something deeper, below our level of consciousness. I'm going to argue, as Septon is sucked into the body of Satan, that musical artists desire a transcendent experience or a miracle, a seizure. People want everything. There is a chance that individuals without severe mental health problems envy those with them. I mean, who wouldn't? When we talk about it like it's a gift from sense. It is a gift from sense, right? That's how we have to start thinking about it, yes. We ostracize the mental health community and don't properly understand them. When you don't properly understand something, your mind reaches in the unknown to see if it can find one. If you don't find one, the unknown didn't choose you. Oh boy. I'm assuming now that insanity is looked down upon as some kind of strategic malfunction, maybe a punishment for a decision we made or the effect of a mistake. I like to depend on a different idea. Music is the answer. How do you know? Let me ask you a question. What's your favorite song? This is a bit embarrassing, but I like Billie Eilish. Disgusting. I need your favorite song, not just a name drop of the hottest artist to ever live. She's not that hot. I will kill you if you say that again. She's not that hot. Septon would never intentionally murder anyone, but the rage that coerced him into action was no mistake. It was a gift from nature itself, to be the hero and not require any recognition. That is the goal. Septon quickly plunged the nearest knife into the neck of his best friend Joel. They watched each other in their last seconds, torn apart by a woman, drawn to war of an imaginary feeling of noble upkeep. I cannot stress the importance of this woman. I envy the blindness. I was coaxed into delusion by her. I was coaxed through an infinite promise of infinite happiness. She stood above me, asked me for a wing. I relented because I was bored and because I thought the greater good was a valuable thing to aim for. I'm not a hater. I am so madly in love with that the chaos frightens me. What is happening? She asked me for a wing and I gave it to her. She ate it and then she took another. Books don't make sense unless you read them backwards. You'll single out the wrong words. You'll mishear all my songs. I read a book backwards and it made sense to me. You seem to have tried to access the same information I was accessing, but gave up when the answers were too confusing. You have to want the chaos that the power brings, not the power itself. She knows everything I'm saying. I'm not teaching anyone anything. She likes spicy food. She searched for spicy food. She took more than was given. I envy the blindness. You may be with her on one condition. What's that? You will go deaf, but you will have her in hair all times. Make me blind, you like that more. Why? Because then I would never truly see if she has. What the fuck? Not only did the death of Joel send an entire Wingstop into a frozen fright, it started snowing outside. Wow, the world really does play bad jokes. Madeline started to sing in the middle of the chaos, as if she found a torch in a cave or a dick among dicks. Music is the peace that war brings. Effect is more important than cause. That thought frightens you, then you are not ready. Sorry, sometimes I talk to myself. Satan was talking, but blabbering, actually. It was quite comical for the actual smart people to experience. I mean, look at him, thinking there's a reason for the destruction of the world. Being in the most powerful and divine object humans ever try to understand, the Bible. I'm talking about Revelation, which I haven't read, but if the first mover is good, then what is the last mover? If the first mover is the first mover good if there is a last mover? No, of course not. Now let's take some time to give condolences to the family, grieving at this very fine hour of the evening. Septon had been slung to, stolen from, tortured, teleported, comaed, and traveled throughout the chaotic cosmos of the human mind for his entire life, but only now is it being writ down. That is quite a calamity, you all. I'm not very proud. Yes, I would have done it better. Watch, you'll see once I'm dead. Yeah, no, we aren't headed anywhere but downhill, and a boulder is behind us. Wait, you wanted some kind of psychoanalyst? Well, you got me, okay? The most prized possession that a psychoanalyst could have. In fact, their most delectable interest, insanity. When we feel the need to bestow a rule upon someone, it is due to our anger that we feel towards them, fighting for any other way out, punishing itself for imprisoning another soul. Internal anger desires external submission to the anger. When we become angry, our minds fuse towards an answer to solve the problem. We think problems are solved by rules. The angry are the one creating the rules. Schizophrenia is the result of biological disgust for the process of rule creation as an ultimate goal. We feel unalterable amounts of guilt for our anger, so much guilt that it decays our soul. Our brain tries to stop it, tries to be the hero, but fails, sending itself into a wild goose chase for the sake of our figuring out what it's like to have the goose. What is happening? Phrases that attach to behavior, like orders for yourself, are false gods. First of all, the phrase knock on wood is a genius phrase and cope mechanism to existential fear. It is also a genius phrase and cope mechanism for real fear. Conditioned action is a self-soothing mechanism. Habits bring us pleasure. I just want happy paint. Give me happy paint. Smear it over my prefrontal cortex like strawberry jelly. Oh boy. Dress me up like a porn star until wow, okay. Isn't he hilarious, Septon screamed, challenging anyone to see otherwise, provoking them, inviting the destruction head on, lighting his hair on fire, just eating the matches, painting a picture, just feeding the masses. What is this, some kind of song? No, it's not a song, you fucking drill sergeant. I'm creating an instrument, a kind of keyboard, perhaps. I am really confused. Each paragraph has been expressing different amounts of anger. Like an out-of-order keyboard, it represents my mind, an instrument of the music of chaos, a matador, a horse racer, a serrated knife. How can I make this more indulgent? Wait, you thought American literature wasn't going to be a self-pleasuring mechanism by the time us phone addicts grew up? Fuck off, man. Wow. Yeah, it's called creative ego soothing. Get with the times, Grandpa. Oh, no, wait, I'm just kidding, but not really, or am I? I castrated my. What? Wow. Wow. If one limb is causing you to sin, you cut it off, right? Yeah, it wasn't that simple. After my father caught me, I decided right then and there, after sobbing out my guts, that I was okay. I wouldn't say enshrine. There's something called the libido. I'm not sure what it is, but I think there's something wrong with mine. The curiosity mixed with my bubblingly raw sex drive tripped me, almost breaking the promise I made to myself. My mind started to bend with horrible calls from nature to break the law, to break my promised reality, to finally just get over the fear of my father and wow, okay. I was at the brink of death, so I cut it off in the kitchen. They found me passed out. I was told I received some kind of brain damage from blood loss. Only my family knows about this. What does it mean to be free? I am the American ideal. No, you're. What is going on here? I am so confused. My freedom knows no bounds. I talk of freedom. What do I mean? I mean rules. Rules devastate freedom. The removal of rules is what works. I can't contain it anymore. I am a tin can. I am a heart inside. I am being shaken like a soda when a child wants it to explode upon opening. I'm having a vision of a baby exploding right after birth. I don't know what it means, yet. Where do ideas come from? They come from space. They fly out of space and straight toward you like projectiles. You feel adrenaline from incoming projectiles. An increase in blood pressure. You can also sense when ideas are coming. You can't sense lightning. The atmosphere creates lightning. Is there a biological formula for it? I don't know what else to do. Climaxes of music last longer in emotional memory. Video game with stock market gamble. Septon is currently looking in the bathroom mirror at the Wingstop, asking himself if he would fuck God. What? He's not sure what this question means or what it has to do with his manic and paranoid lunch so far, but it seems intriguing. To fuck God would have to be like your soul in a state of loving the universe, a thriving potential, a lurking threat. Someone had entered the restroom. Septon puts his hands on the other man's shoulder. The man is bald, but he still turns while peeing. Septon loses focus for a split second, the reflection of the ceiling light on the peeing man's bald head, but after a short moment returns to his zone. A zone of pointed action, a driven storm. You don't have to have a wing on you, do you? Septon said. This is why I hate the world. Everyone is always asking for things, the man responded. Well, what did you expect? Individual atomacy? Septon hissed. If you choose to bury me with the idea that I had when I was 8, then you must have forgotten that I can breathe dirt. Suffocate me, you'll see. Yeah, I bet depression does ruin the mind, but you know what actually ruins it? Something worse than depression. It's hard to believe, but things get scarier than sadness. Okay, that was a trip. Holy hell. I don't know what to make of that. I really don't, but I fucking loved every second. I loved every second of that story. I do not understand what you're trying to get at, Matt, but congrats. You've won me over once again. This is amazing. Um, and to my audience, thanks for watching. If you want more of this, just ask me and I'll ask Matt and yada 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 yada. Fuck off.